those of us new to energy healing, could you explain in simple, everyday, scientifically supported terms, ideally, what happens during a session and how it taps into our body's natural intelligence to support healing and release?
Look, it's a tough question because I can use scientific terms. So just to be clear, we don't really have science on spinal energetics specifically. There's papers out there about energy healing and chiropractic and, osteopathy or, craniosacral therapy, all these other things, even Reiki, acupuncture. But spinal energetics is quite a new modality still. So we don't have anything set in stone yet. We do have a few PhD practitioners doing some work with spinal, and we hope to change that in the future. That is something I hope. Just because it gives it some, I don't know, for certain brains out there, it gives it some, I don't know, like confirm something. Some credibility. But for me, what I think we're doing is I think that we have an energetic field around us. Yeah, and that's been proven. And what I believe spinal energetics is doing is we're working with the things that have either been stored in your field or your physicality as a result. So a lot of people have read like the body keeps the score, this kind of idea that our emotions and our experiences are like a timeline through our body. Maybe we get pain in our legs and maybe that's related to something else metaphysically. Maybe it's an emotional thing going on. We're starting to think a little bit more like that the body and mind aren't as separate as we once were.
Yeah, integrated systems.
Yeah,
sure.
Thing that we were taught originally. And we believe that when we work with the same intelligence that created that symptomatology, which is what we believe that we are working with, that's why people move on the table. We're not making them move. We're tapping into an area where there's safety. And then once there's trust in that area, the protective strategy lets go. And it can do that through movement or through internal changes as well. So, and to create, safety within the body so that you can be the person that you were meant to be rather than the person that's reacting to certain experiences and people and a whole bunch of other things that happen in life.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
So with there's usually a lot of skeptics with new modalities and new ideas that come through. So what do you usually say to people who are just extremely skeptical?
Try it. Yeah.
Well, I just tried it.
Look, I the skeptics doesn't bother me because I think it's really healthy to question things. I question things, and that's what led me into this work in the first place. So, having skeptics and people ask questions about this work doesn't bother me. I think some closed-mindedness bothers me when people have an opinion about something that they've never tried.
What's the difference between skepticism and closed-mindedness in your head?
Well, I would be a skeptic of it too. I think to question it, like, how does that work? It doesn't really make sense. I never knew that was possible. Surely I would know if my body could do that by now. And they were all questions I had and all questions that were answered, not through words as such. Like, yes, they explained to me what they thought was happening, and that's whether I work with a kinesiologist, a Reiki practitioner or whomever. But it wasn't until I experienced the feeling of energy in my own system. That's when I became a believer, for lack of better word, because people either believe in energy healing or they don't.
Do you think you need to believe in it to have any impact?
Well, did you believe in it before I worked on you today?
I'm open-minded to it, and I have some interest in this world generally, but I'm probably on the conservative end of
I think open-mindedness is important, but then again, whether you were open-minded or not, you would have felt what you felt.
Yeah.
So, when people feel that sensation, which is what I describe as a tangible feeling of energy, that really opens up their whole perceptions to wow, I never knew that was possible. I've never felt that before. That felt like actual energy moving through my body. I felt a change. That really starts, getting them to question, okay, I might actually give this a go. That's why I love it, because it's got a tangible
outcome.
Yeah. Whereas, something like Reiki, and that's not to say Reiki works or doesn't work, but you lie there on the table and it's much more of a passive kind of experience, and you might feel a bit rested or relaxed or a bit lighter, but they're more subtle in the changes.
So does Reiki work?
Yeah, I think Reiki works, okay. But it's got a different
vibe to it.
Yeah, I would say you wouldn't get that sensation in a Reiki session normally.
Yeah.
And that's okay. It doesn't mean it doesn't work. It's just got a different access of energy to what we have. But I wanted to make it more tangible for the Westerner, because just like you, like I don't want to pay $200 for a session. Maybe it worked, maybe it didn't. You know, like I wanted people to know that there was something to it quite quickly, especially because people are skeptical of it. So if we don't have science, we need something to make people feel that something is occurring. It's really important.
Sudden experience.
Yeah. And there's, you know, there's nothing quite like your own experience of things.
Yeah.
And I think that changes a lot of people's minds. But, you know, someone who's just closed-minded, has no interest in learning about it, has no interest in being open to it, has no interest in it. There's no point, you know, trying to convince anyone of the work. The work's there for people who would like to, you know, experience it and, you know, pick it up or leave it. I'm okay with either.